What's going on, y'all? Safety Steve here. Today we have the Action Enhancement Kit from Apex Tactical. We're going to go ahead and install this. We're going to try to put it on our Zev Hypercomp. I know some people are going to think I'm crazy for trying to swap out the trigger on a $2,000 gun, but that's what we do here. So we're going to try to put that trigger in this gun and see if it shoots any better or any worse. So I'm going to switch to a better camera angle, show you guys how we're going to take this all apart and get this new Apex trigger installed in there. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. Alright y'all, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this light off. I have the TLR1HL on here. We'll just go ahead, unscrew it, hit the tab, pops off just like so. Everything's clear, empty, we have no live ammunition anywhere around us while we do this. We're going to go ahead and take our slide off. So pull these tabs down, pull the trigger, slide comes off like so. Alright, so now this is a little bit different than a normal Glock because Zev has kind of like a SIG P320. It has the internal frame and that's not part of the grip. So we're going to go ahead and hit this one pin out right there. Alright, and then it slides right away. So from here we have this pin right here as well as this pin right here. We're going to knock those two out to get the trigger assembly out. So you should be able to just push them nice and easy. It's alright that our slide stop's going to come out. That's absolutely fine. We're just going to put it back in just like it was. But for now we can get it out of the way. Alright, so now this pulls out and there's your whole trigger assembly. So from here, all we're going to do is we're going to pull this little side pin out. So we're going to go up and out like so, and then that gives us access to our spring. We can go ahead and take our spring off. Maybe. Might be easier to take it off from this side. So we're going to go ahead and take that off. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this connector out. Sometimes if it's hard, you got to push it from the other side. So you can go ahead and throw that on the floor, why don't we? Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so we have our connector there. So now we're going to bust into our new package. Here we have our Apex trigger assembly. So it says, contact points between the connector and the trigger bar must be lubricated with grease or heavy oil at install in regular intervals. I'll show you guys exactly where that is. It's where this metal piece rubs on your connector here. But we'll go over that in a sec. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull our connector out. And we're going to go ahead and reinsert it just like the old one was. It just pushes in just like so. So boom, there's our new connector in there. Alright, so now we need to take our spring off of this. And we're going to reinstall the spring onto here. Alright, there we go. We got the spring on there. So now we're going to take it and we're going to reconnect it down here where it was. Sometimes it can be a little tricky, but just got to get it to go right back in to the spot where it was at. Alright, there we go. So now we're going to get this tab back into this slot. So what you have to do is you have to kind of pull it out and put it in just like so. And so the contact points they were talking about is right here, where these two metal surfaces meet. So we're going to make sure to put some lube on there before we put it all back together, because metal on metal needs lubrication. So let me go grab that. I'll be right back. We're going to go ahead and drop just some oil in there to make sure that it's not completely dry. So now we need to put this back into our frame assembly. So we're going to slide this in just like so. Make sure this goes back in. Make sure it kind of snaps into place like it just did right there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take our smaller pin in the rear and we're going to put our smaller pin back in. Alright, just like so, nice and smooth, easy like it should be. Now we're going to get our slide release, slide stop, whatever you like to call it. We're going to put it back in its place over here alongside with the trigger. So now we're going to take our trigger pin and we're going to make sure that our slide release is lined up as well as our trigger is lined up. So when everything's lined up, it should fall into place just like so. So there's everything right there. So now we're going to put this back into the lower frame. And it goes in with the back first, and then you push it in. And we'll go ahead and put our big pin back in here. Alright, we can go ahead and put our slide on. Although I did want to mention, so this does come with a new plunger. So we are going to take that plunger out and we're going to replace it with this. But we're going to do that here in a sec. Right now I just want to do a functions check to make sure that this trigger is going to work. So in order to do that, we need to put our slide back on. We need to rack it. We need to go to our wall, squeeze through our wall, hold back, rack it again, and make sure it resets. So a nice reset, there it just went off again. So this trigger is functioning like it should. So now we're going to go into replacing our plunger. So we need to take the slide off again. So we'll take the slide off just like it was. Alright, now everything's housed here in the slide. So we'll take the recoil spring out as well as take the barrel out. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get this back cover off. So in order to get the back cover off, you need to push down on that little metal or that little black round housing you see right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to push down on that and that'll make our slide come down. So make sure you have your finger over here because right there is our extractor spring. So you don't want that to go flying. So once you take that all the way out, you're going to be able to pull out your extractor spring as well as your firing pin. So with all that out of the way, now we should be able to push this up and then we can push that down and this should come right out the front just like that. So there's our extractor. So now our plunger should just fall out freely. If it doesn't, sometimes you might have to kind of pry into it a little bit, but it should come out. Alright, so I had to pry it a little, but the plunger comes out just like so. So now we will take the spring out of the back of it. We'll grab our brand new plunger, get it out of the bag, put our spring back in, and then we're going to reinstall our plunger. So we're just going to push it in just like so. So now we want to throw things again. So now we want to take our extractor pin, put it back in like it was. Take our extractor, slide our extractor back in like it's supposed to be. Take our spring in the back, make sure that's pushed down. Alright, so that didn't quite make it all the way in there. So we have to make sure that it gets all the way set in there. There it goes. Now it's all the way set in there. You see it through the front right there? Okay. So now we can reinstall our firing pin. And all we're going to do is push these down as we put the cap back on. So the first one's going to be your firing pin. And then sometimes if you can get like a little, even a pen will work sometimes. Just enough to get that back behind so that you can snap the cover back on. So the cover's back on, your firing pin's back in, and we have the new plunger installed. So now we're going to put the barrel back in, put the recoil spring back in. There it goes. Alright, we're going to put our slide back on our lower assembly. And we're going to do another functions check. Went off like it should. Went off like it should. Alright guys, now we're going to head out to the range and we're going to do some more shooting and go over this trigger down at the range a little bit more. So we'll see you guys out there.